The sun has decided to revisit us in Alaska, and we have found a spot on top of a mountain where I spend my days feeling like a princess in a castle. And it is impossible to not be in an amazing mood as we wake up each morning and prepare our coffee. As Jim and I take Ember on her walk today, the clouds in the sky have gone from big and black to white, fluffy cotton balls. Jim finds a patch of big and juicy wild blueberries, so we spend the morning wandering the tundra, picking berries with Ember right by her side, and she is eager to help. There's something special about being able to open your back doors and find a variety of berries and flowers to turn into little jars of homemade goodness. Today is also a special and exciting day for us because we woke up knowing that 10,000 of you have decided to join us on this journey of ours. And for that, we are incredibly grateful because the world is a strange place, and everyone should have the opportunity to open up, speak from the heart, and let people see you raw. Whether you're living vicariously through our travels, anxiously awaiting and planning your own adventures to Alaska, or simply here to see what we do next, thank you for spending your time with us today as we celebrate such a wild milestone on this beautiful day in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. Total insanity. Oh!
You still haven't researched it.
This is researching the road.
There, I did the research. That wasn't worth it.
Now we know.
Time to go somewhere else.
As our rainy days temporarily become a thing of the past, we feel crispness in the air, and the leaves are beginning to take on a golden glow. Today was one of the most beautiful days that we have seen in Alaska this summer, with temperatures in the 80s, and the sun was not setting until 10 p.m., so these long summer days make it the perfect time to explore Alaska's back roads. Sometimes these back roads take us to amazingly beautiful places, and other times, not so much. In typical Jim style, we saw a road that led to a town that we had never explored. And this road was dirt and narrow, so of course it got us excited, but soon we discovered the road wasn't exactly what we expected it to be, and not all roads have a lovely ending. Over the last few days, Jim and I have covered about 200 miles, and I was on the search for all kinds of plants that I find interesting. Next up on my list to make before winter comes is fireweed honey. I had gathered most of the ingredients I needed, but canning jars and pectin have been more scarce in the stores than toilet paper and Lysol. I felt my heart skip in appreciation when we pulled into this beautiful spot by the Matanuska River, and the first thing I noticed was a patch of the remaining ingredient that I needed, and that was pink clover.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. My breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. I've been staring at the ceiling, I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do? I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
Growing up in Alaska, many miles away from the nearest grocery store, I am accustomed to living with limited resources. Fresh milk, eggs, honey, and bread were all limited items, especially in the winter. Because of our harsh winters, Alaskans have a history of getting creative when resources are scarce. Honeybee honey is expensive, but with a little creativity, using flowers high in nectar such as fireweed and clover, a simple and easy substitute can be made. I put the full recipe in our description below, including how many blossoms of each flower I harvested. I gently washed the blossoms in cold water to remove any critters. I also carefully removed as much green parts and leaves as possible to reduce any grassy flavor in the honey. In a large pot, I placed alum, rinsed flowers, sugar, and I poured 3 cups of boiling water over the top. I let this steep for about 20 minutes, and the longer you let it steep, the deeper the color and the flavor. I've been told that it can steep for 3 hours, but I was too excited to wait. Not to mention my nectar mixture was attracting bees into the van. I then brought the mixture to a hard boil for 10 minutes, stirring constantly, and Jim helped me pour the hot mixture over a cheesecloth to strain, and the smell and color made my taste buds tingle. I used a measuring cup, but I highly recommend a ladle since the mixture is incredibly hot. And as with everything else I've done these days, I took my time to ensure that I didn't make any sudden moves and spill this sticky, sweet creation. We use honey and sugar sparingly in our cooking, but the difference in taste between fireweed honey and honeybee honey is extremely subtle. The end result is a rich amber-colored honey with an earthy undertone, and I have used a dab in my tea, drizzled it on peanut butter and bread, and I'm looking forward to making a glaze for wild salmon. And while my honey cools, let's check in on my other honey and see what he's cooking for dinner tonight.
After a full day of driving around roads that led to nowhere, we were trying to find somewhere cool. We ended up down here at the river. Cynthia just finished making some honey, but I'm getting hungry. So we're gonna actually pull out the grill today because it's just beautiful outside. This is wonderful weather to actually do some grilling, and we're gonna do a halibut recipe for you. So the first thing that we need to do is create the sauce for the halibut, and we're gonna use 4 tablespoons of butter. I gotta melt that down real quick and then blend in the other ingredients, which we'll talk about when we get to it. So today's adventure took us to or through the area of Cheesecloth, and it was a unmaintained road that we had never been down. We saw on the map that there were a couple lakes out there, and we wanted to go find those lakes. Unfortunately, that whole area is marked as private property. So other than driving down the road, we really didn't get to do a whole lot. It's probably definitely a road that's not worth taking, which is very rarely something that we have to take into consideration, but this time there wasn't much to see.
I think it worked out for the best though, because we ended up here.
Our butter is melted. I want 1 tablespoon of garlic. And that's your minced garlic. Two tablespoons of lemon juice. And 1 tablespoon of thyme. Mix all this together really well. And this is going to be what goes over the halibut. We're also going to add some crushed red pepper. That looks good. We're going to add our halibut. Look how good that looks. And we want to make sure that we get a good amount on both sides. We're also going to add some ground pepper on both sides. And salt to taste. We don't usually use a lot of salt, so I'm going to marinate with the rest of our seasoning here. while I fire up the grill. We want the grill to be set at 375 degrees, so we'll let it warm up for a few minutes while the fish marinates.
Look at that sunset.
Grill's at 375 degrees. We're going to throw our halibut on for 7 minutes, flip it, cook the other side for 7 minutes.
Through all of these drastic and seemingly unreal changes we have all had to endure the past few months, it's easy to fall into a pattern of thinking of what you're missing out on, or maybe what you've lost. What I can't help but notice is how much we have also gained through all of this. One of my friends sent me something that I would like to share with you before we say goodbye. I feel it's a fitting reflection of what many in our world are currently encountering. A man gave wise advice to a kid and said, "People with talent never lose their jobs." "Not even for a day?" asked the kid. "Not even for a second," replied the man. "Your talent doesn't do exit interviews. It doesn't sign separation agreements, and it can't be put on furlough. Once it's given, it stays with you." "I cannot lose it, but I can waste it? Is that true?" asked the kid. "Yes, it is," answered the man. "It's the mother of all equations. Only what's truly yours is yours to waste." Taking the time to slow down, making decisions and ponder has been exactly what we've needed, and we want to thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us. Thank you for being our subscriber, and thank you for allowing us to get to know you through our comments section. Don't waste what's yours: your time, your talent, and your moments. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and we'll see you again soon.